Isn't that a sight to take your breath away? And that beautiful, beautiful grill. There I go getting carried away again. I could just talk about it all day.
I remember my mother used to say there's a little of the boy in every man and a little of the tomboy in every girl. I think that explains the way we feel about sports cars these days.
When the post-nuclear survivors of World War III look at an automobile, what do you think they'll see? Building material? A place to sleep perhaps? Transportation? Maybe. In Fallout's world, America has lots of cars, lots and lots of them, but, well, they aren't for driving, are they? Did people just forget how? Maybe their parents never taught them, or maybe, as we'll discover, the reasons are a bit more complicated than that. Cars are useful tools, especially useful though if you ever find yourself in a radioactive wasteland where food is both scarce and spread out. If scavenging for your next can of preservatives means living to see your next sunrise, then yes, you better get your hands on a working vehicle as soon as the bombs fall, because life just became a race. This makes Fallout a curious case in the genre, doesn't it? Because while most post-apocalyptic franchises acknowledge the clear utility of cars in an end-of-the-world scenario, going so far as to glorify them, Fallout takes the exact opposite approach. In most parts of this wasteland, cars aren't symbols of value and utility. They're the rusted relics of an old world, monuments of metal that speak to the mistakes of a long-dead generation. If these old machines could talk, they'd probably tell us about the poor souls who created them and how incredibly close humanity came to solving the crisis which would lead to their untimely demise. They would tell us about the resource wars and how, while the rest of the world was fighting over the last drops of oil to fuel their cars, factories, and agriculture, the United States was doing relatively well without gasoline. In this alternate timeline, 11 years before nuclear fire would engulf the world, America unveiled the first fusion cell. We're talking nuclear reactors so small they could fit in a backpack. America used this nearly limitless supply of power to build everything from robots to television sets to more robots. It was supposed to be a golden age for humanity, only we know things didn't end that way. So why is America littered with cars that seemingly aren't going anywhere, while 200-year-old military robots are still puttering around? Well, the answers come to us from before the Great War. Instead of harnessing atomic energy to save a world that was teetering on the brink, America's elite started talking behind closed doors. By carefully selecting which companies were awarded government contracts, American leadership ensured that atomic energy wouldn't be used to alleviate the world's problems, but exacerbate them. The atom wouldn't be harnessed as a tool for peace and global unity, but as a weapon of war and further division. State-sponsored paranoia became the order of the day, as government propaganda glorified war as an anti-communist crusade, rallying Americans and urging them to enlist. The ones who did were given atomic-powered guns and armor, weapons of war fueled by the same technology that might have saved them in the rest of the world. Instead, war would be waged in Mexico, Alaska, Canada, then the Pacific, over resources the world didn't know it didn't need to fight over anymore. While the government and oligarchs curved innovation and national attention towards fueling their war machine, Corvega's first atomic-powered cars rolled off the assembly lines. Its nuclear-powered engine promising a brighter future, one free from oil dependency. The same country which gave the world the Model T centuries earlier was about to revitalize not just an industry, but an entire planet that was literally starving for resources. It wasn't just atomic-powered cars either. Advances in nuclear physics were leading to a scientific renaissance, where household replicators once thought the stuff of science fiction might soon become commonplace. These incredible machines provided everyday necessities like food, water, medicine, even alcohol with the press of a button. So why did the Earth's population go to war over scraps when a buffet of new technology was on the verge of saving them all, turning this dystopian tale into a utopian one? Looking at the wasteland, we know that all this amazing consumer technology never quite made it to foreign soil. On the contrary, the exact opposite happened. In the years leading up to the fallout in this timeline, the US president issued a statement. The world's remaining oil supply was to be used exclusively by the United States, leaving everyone else's oil-reliant economies to die. Furthermore, while the US does possess the secrets to nuclear fusion, it would not be shared with anyone, Chinese or otherwise. By exploring Fallout's Wasteland, we learned most of our stories through what was left behind, 200 years after the bombs fell. And those same atomic cars, the ones which could have helped save the world had they been massively adopted, serve instead as a reminder of a future that could have been. Most survivors don't use them, at least the sane ones don't anyway. Remember, these machines were supposed to be the salvation for an old world low on fuel, but to the average wastelander, unlike gas or diesel, atomic engines are just too unstable to tinker with. The consequences for screwing up are rather explosive, so ironically these machines didn't save the old world and they aren't doing so much to help the new one either. Funny enough, most pre-war military technology seems to be working just fine 2 centuries after the bombs fell, and that makes some sense if you think about it. When the US government is dumping truckloads of cash into military contracts instead of sustainable consumer technologies, do we really find it that surprising that the sturdiest machines left behind just so happen to be killer robots and suits of power armor? Only a handful of big players in the Wasteland have managed to maintain a few cars, the new California Republic, just to name one. And what do you think they use them for? You don't have to play Fallout for very long to realize that the new world isn't so different from the old one. All over the Wasteland, pre-war technology gets used for what it has always been used for. So when America's post-nuclear descendants look at a car, they seem to be thinking no differently than their ancestors did. Maybe for the people of the Fallout universe, war is simply in their DNA, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. And you know what else isn't changing anytime soon? Our mod support for the Wasteland Codex. Damn, that was a good transition. The Wasteland Codex is our fully free, fully voiced lore database for the Pip-Boy. The mod has now been downloaded over 100,000 times, and we're not stopping until it's on every Pip-Boy in the Wasteland. To celebrate, this weekend we're going to be releasing our biggest update yet. It's going to add over 30 new unlockable entries, including new categories on vehicles, chems, and power armor. If you're looking to digest your Fallout lore on the go, this is the mod for you. Also, we have a sponsor today. It's been a while. If you're looking to start your own YouTube channel or maybe a blog in the near future, I would highly recommend checking out a website like Skillshare. It's a good place to get your start if content creation is something you think you'd be interested in. They have over 17,000 classes in things like videography, productivity, and even writing. I'd say their service is especially useful for people looking to level up their skills in Adobe products, so if that speaks to you, they're probably worth checking out. The premium membership begins at around $10 a month, but if you decide to go that route, I would highly recommend using the link below before you sign up. That link entitles the first 500 people who use it to 2 months of premium access for only 99 cents. That's sidewalk money, so yeah, make sure if you want it at that price, you get yourself in there. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this here lore video. If you have any more suggestions for topics, burning questions about lore that you need answering, shout out in the comments below or message us on Twitter. Your question just might get turned into the next lore essay. I've been Josh. We'll catch you later.